everybody. My name is Gwen Setley. Welcome to this session. Welcome to Atlantic Cape Community College. For those of you who are new students, we're so excited to have you as students at the college, but also joining us for this session. For those of you who are returning students, we hope that you use this opportunity to learn about some of the great resources and services that Atlantic Cape has to offer at all times, but also how you can access them during the semester where many of you would largely be remote or online. So as Caroline said, my name is Gwen Setley. I'm the Academic Special Projects Coordinator here. I work for the Academic Affairs Division. I've been with the college since actually last November, although I've been within higher education for about 15 years now. So happy to be part of this project and happy to introduce Sue DeFilippis, my friend during part of this.
Hello, everybody. I too want to welcome you to Atlantic Cape Community College. We are excited that you are coming to be a part of our family here. So much is going on. Of course, COVID. How can we not talk about COVID? But you know, this is the rest of your life. This is college. This is the beginning of envisioning who you're going to be in the future. And there's nothing that gets faculty in particular more excited than that, to be a part of your lives and to provide you with the content and the information that can help propel you into the direction you've already chosen, or maybe you're still discovering, exploring. You know, that's certainly welcome too. That's what college is all about. My particular background, I'm actually a daughter of a community college professor, so I'm a second generation community college professor. I've been around it since my teen years, and I don't even want to tell you how long ago that was, but quite a few years. But what I really love about the mission of the community college is it's all about the students. It's all about connecting with the community. Many times folks are tied to the community because of family, jobs, and other reasons. And it's important that you stay and you help build up your community, your family, and other things. And we connect to that. You know, so my background, I have 20 years of being full-time here at Atlantic Cape. I teach English as a second language, and I've also taught English courses through the English department. And before that, I've been around the country. I've taught in San Francisco, Southern Virginia, a couple different places, New York, you know, and so forth. But New Jersey now is my home. I'm happy to be here. I love South Jersey. I love going down the shore. And like I said, faculty are excited. They want to make this remote learning experience really quality for you. They want you to have a college experience, and we're learning as well. It's new for all of us, but there's a real important aspect of you know, transcending the platform and having a college experience. And I'm excited to welcome you to that. And with that, I'm going to hand it back to Gwen, because she's going to take the agenda from here.
Thank you. All right, when we were putting together this session, we had a couple of goals in mind. And one of those goals, I think the most important goal here, is really to introduce you to the many resources and services that Atlantic Cape has to offer and that you can and should take advantage of as a student. So that was kind of the starting place. We also recognized that it can be an overwhelming time, so we certainly don't expect you to have all of the information memorized as we go through each slide. You'll start to notice that we include the different URLs or links that go to further information. These are things that when you have access to the slides or you have access to the recording, they can be really good things to explore on your own as well. So that's kind of how we approached this session. We want to spend a little bit of time talking about some tips and techniques for setting you up for success. So ways that you can set yourself up to success as a remote learner, things that you can consider as you move into the start of this semester, which for many of you started today. We also want to cover a lot of the different things that we view as our commitment to you. So talking about our dedicated faculty and staff, our courses that are designed with you in mind, a little bit of an introduction to Blackboard Collaborate, which is our learning platform, so that you have a sense, if you haven't already spent quite a bit of time digging in there, you have a sense of what that's going to look like, and just an overview of some of the resources and tools that are available for you. We also want to talk about some of the common questions that we get. and give you those answers to help you prepare for the upcoming term. Of course, some important contacts. So many of you may have questions about who do you reach out to if you still have a question about financial aid or your books or things like that. So we do have important contacts and a little bit of a checklist for you. So even though the semester is starting for many of you today, what are the things that you really should be getting accomplished very early on? Okay, so that's kind of our goal for this next hour or so. But before we get there, we have a very special guest who also wants to welcome you to this program as well as to the college. Our Vice President of Academic Affairs, Dr. Josette Katz, is interested in welcoming you. So Josette, take it away.
Good afternoon. Carol and I can't unmute my video, so if you could do that for me or start my video. As Gwen said, I am Josette Katz. I am the Vice President of Academic Affairs here at Atlantic Cape Community College. I'm sitting in my office in K Building. I have to tell you, it's a little lonely today. This is my 37th fall semester at Atlantic Cape Community College. And this is a little unusual that there aren't so many students here on campus today. But we're thrilled that you're joining us for this orientation session. We have done what we think is an excellent job of providing you an orientation today. Sue and Gwen have spent hours putting together this presentation so that we can answer all of your questions. We realize that for most of you, remote learning is not your preference. And to be honest, for most of our faculty, it's not their preference either. But we've all been given a certain set of circumstances across the country, and we're all up for the challenge. So I know that you and that our faculty are going to do their very best to make this a very meaningful semester. As you are going through the presentation, please keep in mind that you may have other questions and we're going to be here to answer them. And the session begins here, but our communication with you doesn't end here today. One of the things that's extremely important is a whole idea of communication. You communicating with us, you communicating with your instructors. We're committed to providing you the resources you need to not only survive this semester, but to thrive this semester. So please let us know what you need. We're here to assist you and to help you on your academic journey. We hope to see more of you on campus next semester. Hopefully our restrictions will be lifted and we'll be able to have more students on campus. So I'll be staying on for the entire session and answering questions with Caroline. And once again, thank you for attending. And we hope that when you leave this session today, you'll be a little bit more comfortable with the next 16 weeks is going to bring you. So thank you. And thank you, Gwen.
Okay, what I'd like to do as a faculty member, I think oftentimes, you know, you're registering for class, you get your books, and then you think you're done, you're ready. And I just want to take you into the mind of the faculty, you know, for just a moment here. And there's a mindset, there's a thinking and a preparation really that also has to happen in addition to just getting the books and getting the classes that you've signed up for. And that's what this slide is really talking about. So, you know, college, you're going to have different challenges, getting assignments in, understanding, you know, having misunderstandings. I thought it was this, I did that, you know, all those kind of things. So we want to help you kind of understand how to think like a successful college student. And the first step of that, and we'll just go through these points, you know, please understand that the faculty, the staff, the administrators, everyone is here to help you. And don't be hesitant to go forward and just assume that and try to get whatever issues or needs or questions you have answered. You know, we can't read your minds, and often I know when I try to in a class or so, I'm always wrong. So I just say, hey, what's going on? You know, so it's really important that, you know, we do want to help you, and, you know, that involves both of us. So the second point about being actively engaged, you know, come, read, ask questions. If you're a little shy, okay, you know, there's room for everybody in this system. You'll see that you can use a chat feature. That happens during class as well. You can meet with the professor outside of class. Oftentimes the professor comes on before class starts, maybe stays after a little bit. It's a time to just interact, or maybe have some of those questions or concerns answered. So I'd really encourage you to take advantage of that. When you do those things, what that communicates to a professor is this person wants to learn. They may not know all of the answers. They may not have all of the assignments and the other activities understood clearly yet, but they're trying and they want it, and they'll work with you, you know, but you got to reach out. You got to take a step there and be a part of that process. Also looking for ways to become involved. You'll learn about some clubs and other things. I'm sure they're reaching out to you with emails and other things. They're going to be meeting via Zoom and other processes. So, you know, definitely take advantage of those because, again, it communicates that you care, you're interested, that you want to be a part of this. And this is the key one: be an advocate for yourself and your needs. Like I said, faculty cannot read your minds, you know, and, you know, we're about solving problems before they get so out of hand that it really causes a problem to your grade. And trying to figure it out the last week or two of the semester is very stressful, frankly, not just for you, but for the faculty. Because I know myself, I just taught summer school, you know, and I had 2 or 3 at the end. I wanted to be honest and true to, you know, the correct grade, you know, but it takes time and effort, and I need the participation of the students as well. So just understand that's what faculty are trying to do, is to be honest and fair, and to come to, you know, the correct conclusion. So definitely advocate, definitely speak out, you know, be a part of that. And then the other thing, being proactive, you know, so if you know that the date scheduled for an exam coming up is not going to work because you have to be at work, or you're scheduled to take your younger sister or your mother or your grandmother to a doctor's appointment, you know, contact the professor before the exam, before the day of the exam. That goes a long way. It just shows that you're being problem solving, that you can show an appointment card or something, and say, hey, look, this is coming up. Can we work around this? Can we come up with another solution? Don't just create your own solution and then think that's going to work. You know, really communicate and you know, work together with your professor to do that. But think ahead. Don't think just a minute or 5 minutes or after the class is over, unless, of course, you know, I mean, things happen, you know, car accidents, other things, and you didn't have a chance to contact them before. But if you have any possibility of working out solutions before critical due dates and test exam dates, that goes a long way to really correct the situation or find a solution in a positive way. So on the next slide, you're going to see that what that was talking about before was more like the mindset, the thinking you have to have, you know, adapting to the situation and then overcoming the obstacles that you find. And then here's some specifics, you know, so we're talking about remote learning, which that's the new buzzword. Remote means that we're meeting at a certain time synchronously, you know, online, in a video conferencing kind of way. You know, I'm here in Galloway. You know, I had a student this summer who was in Belarus in Europe. at one point. So, you know, people can be all over the globe, you know, in remote locations. So that's what remote's all about. But for you personally, you've got your books, you're coming to class. What is your goal? Is it just to pass this class? You know, what do you need to do week by week? It's important to think about that. Don't just think, okay, here's my to-do list, but really stop and think, what do I have to get done this week, next week, this month, at the end of the semester? When do I register for next semester? You know, set your goals. Have in mind what's coming up so you're not overwhelmed by it when it appears. The second thing, and this is really important, I have no doubt that many of you are incredibly busy and you have work, you have families, you have obligations, you know, to a broader community, possibly a religious community, all sorts of things. Plus, you're trying to be a full-time college student, even a part-time college student. Make a schedule. When you put it down on paper, I know that's old school, but or if you put it down in your phone or you know, on your, you know, I like to use Google Calendar, so the apps, you know, whatever way you schedule yourself, put it down so that you can see it all together. When you start to see it all together, and then you got to step back and say, when am I going to study? When am I going to read those chapters? When am I going to write those essays? You've got to give yourself some time, 2-3 hours. You know, I tell my students, you know, an hour a day, that would be perfect, you know, if with work and everything else. But dedicate specific time chunks where you can work on your coursework. The other important thing is the computer at home. Is it in the middle of the dining room or the kitchen where everybody's kind of running back and forth and eating and yelling and chasing each other? You know, if you have young kids, you know what I'm talking about. So what does that space look like? Is that really the only place where you can have your computer? So think about a learning space at home. You know, if you can be in a place where you're not going to be distracted, where you can be by yourself, where it can be quiet, where you can control the atmosphere. Consider your equipment. You're going to hear very shortly about a free loaner program that we have with computers. You know, if your equipment's old or you don't really have a high level technology, that's an option for you, and it's free. But think about the location, the furniture, you know, having a desk and a chair, a committed, specific learning space. That's best for you. And here's the next one: gaining the support of those around you, those closest to you. They're used to hanging out with you. They're used to having meals and doing fun stuff together. Well, you're going to have to pull back from that a little bit. Do they understand that? To have the conversation now before it gets more involved. You don't want them interrupting you during class. You don't want them interrupting you during your study time. Have a very tight control of that. And then when you're done with that, and then you have time with them, explain that to them now. Have them, they love you, they support you. So, you know, they may not want to do it, but they'll certainly respect the fact that you need to do that and work with you. And then this is a key one: backup options. Do you have a public library nearby that you can use computers? Do you have some sort of copier or internet access? Is there a Starbucks nearby where you can use the Wi-Fi? You know, have a backup because trust me, I had an in-class essay timed exam in the middle of the summer, and of course it was on the day we had the storms, and half the class had no internet at home. And you know what? Everyone got it done on that day, regardless of those circumstances. And it's a real testimony to the students being prepared, having the backup, and you know, we had I think we were on plan A, B, C, D, or F by then, who knows, but it worked. Is the point. So have a backup. You think you don't need it, but you do. Trust me, you do. You do. And then bottom line, communicate. You can never over communicate with your professors. So they really appreciate just knowing what's going on. Don't make them guess, because I'm telling you, they'll guess wrong. So communicate with them, get to know them, reach out to them. Don't be afraid to do that. You know, again, you're advocating and you're being you, and that's going to involve having to step out a little bit, maybe some of your comfort zones, but that's a good thing. Because they'll really appreciate that. So We'll go on to the next slide. Because it's not just about what you have to do. We do recognize here at the college that we have a commitment to you. We have responsibilities to you. And I just want to let you know, we do have high quality faculty. There's some amazing faculty that we have here who are teaching you. Many of the adjunct faculty actually work in the industries and for the businesses that you're planning to join in the near future. They know what the latest technology is, what the latest issues and work procedures are. They're invaluable for you and your work experience. In addition to that, our full-time faculty, are engaged in a lot of research or academic collaboration with other schools and professors, usually 2-year, 4-year. And I just want to point out, we have faculty, there's a faculty member who has been honored as the Community College Distinguished Faculty. That's a special award for New Jersey that's given to only one person out of the entire state, out of 19 schools, and one of our faculty received it. So amazing accomplishment. We've also had presidents, more than one, presidents of national organizations from our faculty in their academic fields. Oftentimes we're all members of academic organizations so that we can collaborate broadly with our peers. And 2 of our professors went on to be national presidents of those organizations. We've also had faculty invited as international speakers to academic conferences in North America, Canada, Europe, and South America, so it goes well beyond our borders. And if you understand a little bit about, the academic world, to be an invited guest speaker is a high honor. So for that to happen on 3 different continents is pretty amazing. So the other, I'd point out 2 more. One is that a group of our professors were professors in residence at a European university. It was a summer program, and they were participants in that. And then we have other professors. One's written a published novel, and others have written essays and articles in newspapers like the Philadelphia Inquirer. So you're getting folks that are really out in the world doing things, learning things, and interacting internationally. Take advantage of all that. That's really what it's all about, is learn and grow and find out what that's all about and what you can learn from their experiences. Our staff, dedicated, and especially with the COVID situation and coming up with alternative procedures and ways to accomplish our jobs, very dedicated. We have courses. We have these advisory committees that are constantly working to, they have members from the community, from the business world, from the academic world in our extended region. And we're constantly designing courses and programs that align with the changes that are happening with different jobs and careers, so that our programs and our degrees are more transferable and also relevant to what's changing out there. And Blackboard Learn, you're going to learn a lot more about that from Gwen in just a moment. So you'll see that, and then I'll be talking more about the library and other resources as well. So it's all there, and that's all a part of what it means to be successful. Don't try to do it alone. It's really being an island to yourself doesn't work anymore. You got to be connected, and you have all of these resources at your fingertips. They're free and there for your taking and advantage. So I'm going to turn it over to Gwen so she can start talking about Blackboard, and enjoy.
Thank you, Sue. Yes, we do have high quality faculty, incredibly dedicated staff. If you have any questions and are calling any of our staff at this time, do be sure that you leave a voicemail. If they're not able to respond right away, they do get back very quickly. Courses that are designed with your success in mind often will be found in Blackboard Learn, which, as I mentioned before and as Sue just led into, is our learning platform. So Blackboard Learn, you may hear it titled a couple of different things. Blackboard, of course, our learning management system, our learning platform, your online course sites, whatever it may be. But for the majority of you, you're in online courses or remote courses that the bulk of your work is going to be conducted through Blackboard. Even if you have a face-to-face presence on campus, each course does have a Blackboard Learn site. So you can see at the top that there is actually a link that would direct you to it. This is going to be a link that you're probably going to want to bookmark so that you have immediate access throughout the semester. I'll show you in just a minute how you can access it from the website so that if you are at a different machine, you know exactly what to do. But Blackboard Learn is available to students 24/7 unless there is some sort of a maintenance project that's going on, in which case you would certainly get an email or an announcement would be posted about that. How you log into Blackboard Learn. And I'm sure that some of you are, if you haven't already logged in, might be doing this at the same time, but it's your 7-digit student ID number. Your student ID number would have been something that was provided to you with your acceptance and your welcome information from the college. You can find it through WebAdvisor as well. If you don't know what WebAdvisor is, just stay tuned. We'll talk a little bit about that as well. But that 7-digit student ID number is something that you probably want to commit to memory pretty early on. Because you'll find a number of different places where you're asked to provide that. And then your initial password is your 6-digit date of birth. And do notice the structure, the layout of that password. It's your month, day, and then just 2 digits of your year, which is a little bit different from where you might put in a lot of other places. So for example, if your birthday is October 20th of 1970, your initial password is 102070. Okay. If you tried getting into Blackboard last week, you may have received some different error messages. That's because you didn't have a Blackboard account until last Thursday afternoon. If you have just registered for a course, you may not have access quite yet because it needs to go through a run through. So if you're in a situation where you're logging in and maybe you just registered for a course, give it a couple of hours. If, however, you've been registered for a while and you try putting in that 7-digit student ID and your password in that specific format and it doesn't work, I'll show you an online help email address that you can reach out to as well. Okay, but where you can access this otherwise, not directly, would be through our Atlantic Cape website. So if you go to that website and look over in the top right, and on the screen, you can see that it's circled. It looks like the 3 lines. Some people call that a hamburger, but it gets you access to the quick links. I do want to call your attention to the very first link at the top is the Fall 2020 return. You're going to notice that a lot of the information that we're providing you here is also found there. That's because Atlantic Cape does want to communicate all of the different resources and services in a number of different ways. So if you haven't checked out that page, I would strongly encourage that you do so. But you can see down at the bottom of that quick links access, there is the link to Blackboard Learn. So if you were to click there, you'd be taken to the login page as well, and you can log in there, okay? Once you're in, you're going to be taken to the My Blackboard page. My Blackboard page, you could think of it as kind of a dashboard, if you will, but it's called My Blackboard, and it's where you have access to all of your different courses. You can see this is just a sample. Your theme layout may look a little bit different. We just upgraded to make sure that our theme reflects more about more accessibility, but also reflects what it would look like when you download the Blackboard app, which I'll talk about in just a second too. But when you're looking at the My Blackboard page, you can see that there's student announcements along the right. Don't overlook these. We do change these based on what's going on. So make sure that you kind of just stay apprised of that information. And then in that middle column, you're going to see all of your courses that you're registered for. You can get access to the any recent announcements that may be posted as well from there, or you can just click directly on it to go in. You notice it also gives you information about the Blackboard app. I'll talk about it in just a minute as well, but some great information on this page. This is the My Blackboard page, kind of like your dashboard. Once you click into a course, all of your courses are going to look different. So this is a sample course. It's not to say that each of your courses are organized this way, but what you will notice is along the left-hand side, there's a navigation column. Now again, the look of it may be a little bit different just based on a new theme, but many of your courses are going to have course information, course content, announcements, the things that are in that section right there. Now, if you have a course that does not currently have mail as something that you could access, or does not have discussions or assignments, it could be because your faculty member hasn't published or posted a discussion post or a specific assignment or a test. It could be because they don't use the mail tool through Blackboard Learn. Perhaps they require or request that you communicate with them in a different way. But what you'll want to do is, as soon as you get access to all of your courses, or if you haven't done so already today, start navigating through each one and get a sense for how each of your faculty members organize their course, okay? One of the other things that you'll want to be on the lookout for, and again, if it's not there right now, just continually look. If you're in a remote course, and Sue kind of hinted to the meaning of that a few minutes ago, if you're in a remote course, it means that you would still be meeting with your class synchronously through a web conferencing tool. Many of our faculty utilize Blackboard Collaborate, some utilize Zoom. If anybody uses something different, you would be notified of that within your course. This is just a slide to give you a couple of examples of how some of your faculty may advertise where you would access their virtual class links. If your class looks different, that's okay. And if you've gotten in there and you know that you're supposed to have a class coming up pretty soon, look around, look in your course content, look in your course information, even look in your discussions. If that's a way that your faculty are wanting to interact with you, they may have put the link there. But be on the hunt for the first couple of days and see if your class hasn't had a scheduled meeting yet, perhaps you wouldn't be looking for this. Now, if you're in an online class, you may not be utilizing virtual class links. And if you're looking at your schedule starts with an OL. That typically means you're in an online class, which means all of your work is going to be conducted through Blackboard Learn, and it may not include synchronous virtual class sessions. Versus if you're in remote and you look at your schedule and it gives different times, that's when your class sessions are most likely to be held. Okay? But the most important thing here is to familiarize yourself with your class, find out how to communicate with your faculty member, and be on the lookout for, if you are supposed to have a virtual class, how do you access that? Okay? The Blackboard app is something we highly recommend that you download. This would allow you to have access to your course content and your Blackboard Collaborate sessions on the go. If you were to type in Blackboard, you might actually get the option to download either this one, you see the pencil icon in there, or there might be one called Blackboard Collaborate. We would recommend that you download this Blackboard app because it includes everything plus Collaborate, versus the Collaborate app alone is just for Collaborate. So this is where you would have kind of everything. It's a great tool so that you have access to your coursework on the go, or if for some reason it can be even a backup if your computer goes down due to internet access, but you can still log in through your Blackboard app to collaborate. It can be a way of getting your content there as well. So it's a good thing to download. Okay. Definitely explore, get in there. Again, if you just registered within the last few hours, you may not have access to Blackboard Learn yet. Keep trying. Make sure you're double checking that 7-digit student ID number as well as the 6-digit date of birth without slashes, just the 6 numbers for your initial password. And I say initial password because that's something that once you log in, you can change the password to something that you're more easily likely to remember. Okay. So explore, look around, see what you can find about how to communicate with your faculty, what's expected, what's the layout and organization of your course. There's lots of information that's available to help you. We have a technical requirements for Blackboard Learn. You should have some sort of a device, whether it's a Mac or a PC, that allows you to browse the internet, upload documents, download documents, submit documents. If you have a camera and microphone within your computer, that's wonderful. If not, you may need to get a camera or a microphone, but don't do that until you find out for sure. You may be able to use your smart device to log in. You may be able to borrow one. Our next slide actually talks about a tech loan program that you could borrow a camera from the campus as well. So lots of technical requirements, even down to which browsers work best for which systems. So do make sure that you take a look at that. If you want to do some Blackboard Learn student tutorials, so if this is entirely new to you and maybe your faculty member says post your introductory discussion, you want to know what does that mean, you can actually go to one of the tutorials and kind of take a look through and determine what you need to do from there. We do have Blackboard support that's available through phone or email on weekends as well, so absolutely reach out to them if you've done quite a bit of sleuthing and still aren't able to find the answer. They're a great help to you. All right, so I already mentioned we do have a computer loaner program or a tech loan program. Atlantic Cape does recognize that one of the most important aspects is making sure that you have access to your course content, especially if you're remote or online, or have any aspect that is completed online. So if you need to borrow a laptop, take advantage of the laptop lending program. You would use your Buccaneer email account, that's your atlantic.edu email account that Sue will talk about a little later in the presentation. Send an email from that to techloan@atlantic.edu, include that 7-digit student ID, and mention where it would be most convenient to pick up a laptop. This can be a great way to have kind of that backup plan that Sue was mentioning. Do note that a hold will be placed on your account until the laptop is returned, and I believe they also have the availability of cameras too. But if you need some of these different technology pieces, reach out to this email address. Okay. I will turn it over to Sue to talk a little bit about our tutoring and library services.
Okay. The next several slides really talk about library and tutoring, which is housed within the library system. It's such an important thing. It takes up several slides. So wonderful resources. You have local resources, meaning tutors that are here and housed in Atlantic Cape specifically. And then you also have a 24/7 availability through NetTutor to meet with a tutor. So that is really great for those subjects that are more advanced, such as engineering, and other math and science and STEM type courses. And also if you have a casino type job, you know, or a nightly shift, so you're wanting to do your homework at 3 in the morning, you know, where do you get a tutor for that? Well, NetTutor International. So that would work for you. This first slide, let's talk about tutoring. So this is where you'd reach out. And what happens is you as it says, they're assigned, sometimes they're actually embedded in your class. So you have a specific tutor for a specific class. If your professor mentions that, then yes, go to that person, because they're really attuned to what that particular professor is looking for, is teaching, and what they're wanting for your product, for your output. So that would definitely be the tutor to deal with for that particular class. If you're not sure, I mean, you can certainly ask your professor, but they will make a note and let everybody know that they have a tutor and who that person is, who will have access to the Blackboard there. So that's very specific that way. The second one with NetTutor, as I said, that is free to you. That is something that we've taken on, and it really does provide for a wide range of subjects, academic fields, and a 24/7 access. So honestly, if you have a more unusual schedule, or you just need help with a particular content that there isn't a tutor available locally, then NetTutor is a great solution for that. And again, it's free. Many professors, including myself, I have a link right in my Blackboard where you can sign up for it and go to it right from my Blackboard class. So as well as from, as you see the URL at the top of the page here. Emphasis is with writing tutors. We have wonderful writing tutors locally here. If you're working on essays and other papers, research papers, certainly they're going to need a little, turnaround time. Usually I'm hearing about 48 hours where, to give you some feedback, and their role isn't to be your editor and whatever. What they're trying to do is to help you frame your argument, frame your research and your findings in a coherent, logical, clear, easy to understand way that gets the point across. So they're going to help you with your ideas and various things like that. And like I said, there are tutors locally as well as the NetTutor. So you have a lot of resources here. I think sometimes it's just difficult to take that first step and reach out and try to get going with it. Please take that step. When you say to a professor, hey, I'm having a tough time with this, but I've contacted a tutor, or I'm working with a tutor in the library. Again, what that communicates to a professor is, okay, this person is really interested. They're interested in doing well, and they're willing to put the time and effort into it. It communicates a lot of really positive things about your approach and you adapting and overcoming and solving your needs and getting things done. And that communicates a lot of really positive things to your professor. So you can see there in a couple of places the tutoring at atlantic.edu that is monitored constantly, and they will get back to you on that. So no worries there. I'll take you on to the next slide, where we're talking about the libraries. Now with the COVID situation, things are kind of changing constantly. You know, they're trying to keep updated with what the government, particularly our governor, you know, and the state mandates. As things are allowed to open up, we open up. If he pulls back on things because there's been an outbreak or whatever, then we pull back, you know. So we're very responsive to the safety and the health issues surrounding COVID, and particularly what the governor's office is putting out there. So this is a really good place to see. If you're the kind of student you just like to be in a library kind of setting, it helps you kind of get in the mood to study. That framework, that mental framework I was talking about, it's a great place to be, especially if your home's a little crazy with younger kids and other things going on. It's a nice, quiet, easy to focus place. So before you go, you know, definitely check the URL there at the top. When you get on the library page, you're going to see they're going to have updated information. So either phone call or check the pages to see before you get there, just in case something has changed. So currently the Mays Landing campus library is open. I believe it's from for appointment only. So definitely check these pages so that if you do like to go to the library physically in person, check with them first to save yourself a trip, just in case it's not possible. Okay, so we'll go to the next one. And again, what do you do at the library? Okay, besides being a great place to kind of focus, of course, it has all sorts of resources. And if you can't come there in person, this is a really great place to go. These aren't just, you know, everyone, I mean, I use Google, I don't know, 20 times a day, 50 times a day. I mean, I constantly use it. It's an invaluable tool. But, you know, there's a whole nother layer. And I know Google has Google Scholar, and that's a good thing. But there are listservs and databases that are paid for by the college and other universities and research institutions, where they're keeping higher level research, you know, that you can have access to. So if you're a science major, engineering, nursing, you want to really tune into those nursing journals and other journals related to your field that are a higher, more academic level, you know, of research specifically. So certainly that's, as you can see in the first paragraph there, it says a login and password are required. So the login would be study, the password would be the S, small case, 1112, small case Y. And in that way you could, off of the library website, you know, the page there on atlantic.edu, you can actually get into some of these databases, and it's completely free to you. The college pays that subscription, so that you can have high level relevant research, you know, for the work and the studying that you're doing. Circulation desk, they're amazing. I don't know, librarians, I don't know how they learn this, but they know how to find information. And if you have an unusual research topic or you just can't find what you're looking for, then definitely that stands for the circulation desk, Circ desk. Definitely contact them, ask a question, say, you know, can you suggest a few things, you know, for me to do? Certainly library at atlantic.edu will also do that as well. But the circulation desk is really more focused on getting you specific information, answering specific questions about your research and information that you need for your studies. So we'll go to the next page. And on this one, I love these. These are called LibGuides. So when you go in the library or you're emailing or texting back and forth with the librarians, believe it or not, there are 36 guides. And what that means is oftentimes the librarians see trends and patterns in research, and what students need. So when that happens, they start to put together a package so that when the next student comes in, they can say, hey, look, here's a group of things that have been researched and found. Boom, here you go. So you don't have to wait. You don't have to think you're the only one that's looking for this. There are 36 of these guides, and they update them regularly. And as you can see, some of them have to do with plagiarism, which is a big deal in college and life in general as an adult, and other topics as well. Essay writing, history topics, philosophy topics. This is a political year, so I'm sure there are things about politics and so forth. So what it is the librarians have already pre-packaged some really high quality websites, information, sources for your work. And it's far more than you could ever use for any paper. So it's a tremendous resource for you. So a good place to start, and you see the link at the top there with LibGuides, atlantic.libguides.com. You can see that. Check out what the topics are and look through those. See if one of those fits what you need. If not, then certainly reach out to that circulation desk or to the librarian, and they'll help you beyond that. I do want to point out just a quick comment about plagiarism and citing sources. Oftentimes, and I'm just speaking as a professor here, oftentimes what students think plagiarism is and what professors think plagiarism is can be quite different, or just a little bit different, but in the end it can cause you problems. So really you want to be aware of that. Professors in the beginning explain what it is. Pay attention to that. If you are taking exact words, even if it's just half a sentence, and you're not using quotes, or you're not saying where you got that information from, the specific source of it, then that's considered plagiarism. So you definitely want to avoid that. You want to certainly use information and ideas that are out there, but all you have to do is just cite it. All you have to do is say, hey, this is where it came from. And that's the whole point. So it's not ours. The work was done by others, and they should be lauded and applauded and recognized for that. That's all plagiarism is about. So make sure you're very clear with the professor. And if you're turning in assignments through the Blackboard site, the Turnitin, they call them Turnitin assignments, that is specifically looking for plagiarism. So, it's a big deal. It's a really big deal. And have a conversation with your professor if you're concerned, or you think, oh, I'm not sure if this is or not, or what. Talk to them, ask them, to review that with you. Okay, but it does come up in the Blackboard courses when you submit work. It's going to show up in that Turnitin slot. Okay, so those are just some of those right there. Next slide. I'm just going to hand it over to Gwen so she can talk about the college catalog. So enjoy.
Great, thank you. All right, so Sue offered some great information about our tutoring services, as well as our library resources and services that are available to you. Highly recommend that you look into both sites and do so proactively. So remember, be proactive. If you think you may struggle with a class, familiarize yourself with those areas ahead of time. What I want to talk about for the next few minutes is just a couple of other pieces of information or offices that might be very, very helpful to you. So the college catalog may not be something that you think about as, hey, this is something that I should look into and read through, but it really is. The college catalog gives you a lot of information about our policies, our procedures. It can give you information about the program that you're in. If you're still exploring, it can give you lots of information about all of the different programs that are available at Atlantic Cape. And if you want to think very strongly towards that goal setting avenue, look at the graduation procedures, constantly be thinking about that end in mind. So the college catalog is something that I would encourage you to take a look at and at least know where you would access that at any given time. Academic advising. Many of you may have already had academic advising appointments. Perhaps you're actually in the middle of that right now. And I know that they're incredibly busy working through all of the different requests and trying to help students as best as possible. So absolutely keep with that. But if you need help with placement testing or have questions about the program of study or what classes you should be in, absolutely be aware of the academic advising office. They're working to schedule appointments remotely as well and are doing their best to work with our students. Center for Accessibility Services. If you think that you have a need for an accommodation, work with our Center for Accessibility. We at Atlantic Cape are very dedicated to ensuring that there's equal access to all of our academic materials and all of the things that you need to be a successful student. Our Center for Accessibility will work with you to, based on the documentation that you submit, and they'll work with you on what documentation may be needed to provide you with the accommodation letters to get the support that you need. It also provides access to assistive technology equipment and services. And of course, this is one of those that this is part of what you're paying for to be a student here. So it is free of charge for you. Take advantage of that. Okay. So common questions, kind of moving along, we've gone through a lot of the different resources and services that we offer. That certainly doesn't encompass the social side of things, the student affairs side of things. There's so much more for you to explore and know about, but this really focused on the academic side of things. So what are some common questions? My course begins on Monday, or in this case, today. So where do I get started? Especially if you may have been a late registrant or were just getting yourself into the mode of your courses. Once you have access to Blackboard, again, if you've been registered for quite a while, you should already have access to Blackboard, but if you just registered, it might take a little bit of time. But once you do have access, familiarize yourself with each of your courses. Recognize that your faculty are going to organize their content, their course structure based on what makes sense for that specific course. So you want to familiarize yourself with all of it, kind of give yourself a tour of each of your courses and determine what's in there. And one of the things that you should be looking for is, how do I contact my professor? Each of your faculty member have a preferred means of communication. And some of them may utilize a tool within Blackboard. So you may see it in that left-hand navigation column, something that says mail. But if you don't see that there, take a look at the syllabus and see if they've listed their contact information there. They may also be waiting until they have their first virtual session with you, so look around for that information as well. But go on a little bit of a scavenger hunt of each of your courses to find some key information. Okay? And do recognize that not all of your course content or all of the material is going to be published quite yet. So perhaps there's only a welcome message at this time, and that's okay. It may take a couple of days as our faculty welcome everybody to the campus and to their course and get their content published and up and running. So what do you need for each course? Hopefully you've already obtained your textbooks and materials. If you haven't, the bookstore is allowing in-store visits, but because of COVID-19 safety requirements, there's face coverings are required, 6 feet of social distancing is mandatory, and there's going to be a limit of people who can be in the store at any given time. So it may take you a little bit of time to get your textbooks if you're relying on coming here face-to-face. You could also look at the website, go to the website, you can search for your textbook. You may see that there's ebooks that are available. If you download an ebook or if you purchase an ebook, you'd have access to it right away. You may be able to rent your textbook. It may be a rental of an ebook, maybe a rental of an actual textbook, could be a purchase of a used copy, new copy, lots of different options per course. You just want to take a look in the bookstore website to see what's there. Or you can look at your syllabus for the information of what's needed. So perhaps your course actually needs an access code to publishing content, and you get that information within the course. So be looking in both directions. If you do order your textbooks online, there might be a delay in how long it takes to get to you, but they will mail it to you. You can purchase it using financial aid as an online payment option. And there is information about a price match guarantee that's offered on the website. So if you're looking to save some money as you get going with the semester, absolutely be looking for that information on the website too. But just browse the website to get a sense for how you look for your textbooks and how you find some of this information. If you have questions or concerns, there's certainly an email for you there as well. Sue is going to very briefly talk about The 3 different systems, we've already talked about Blackboard Learn, so that's something that I don't think she'll cover again. But Blackboard Learn is kind of the academic side of things. She'll touch on the email and WebAdvisor, which are 2 other systems that you will need to access regularly.
Okay, yeah, basically we wanted you to know with this slide, there are 3 different things really that you need to be aware of and need to have your password and login secured and ready to go. So your email through all the business offices and various administrative offices, they're going to contact you through your Buccaneer email. So that should have happened when you first registered, and you need to go in there. You can actually change you can change it. Yes. So on this slide, this just shows you that through your email address, you can have an initial password, go in and forward that Buccaneer email to the one that you use every day. So that works really well. And that's just some information about what that works. The WebAdvisor, that's more of your student records and various things of that nature. So this is going to become key. This is right off of that home page, far right, where you had those quick links. WebAdvisor is one of them. That's where you can see your grades. That's where you can see your financial aid and business information, what's going on, you know, in all the other areas administratively with your being a college student. So you definitely want to check that out. But just remember, you have 3 different things to think about. WebAdvisor for all your records, Buccaneer email for all the communication back and forth, and then your Blackboard Learn, which is where you go to class. So just keep those 3 things separate. There are 3 different things. Okay, and then this last one, we'll turn it over to Gwen, talk about our new app.
So these are some important contacts that you might want to just be aware of, and they may be things that we've already covered, but wanted to put them together on one slide so that you kind of see here's some of the important contacts that you may need. And I mentioned at the beginning, we do have incredibly dedicated staff, but we are also working partially remotely, partially on site. So if you give a call to an office, if you don't get an answer or if you get a busy signal, leave a voicemail message and we will get back to you. So we have that set up to where we can check our emails and our voicemails very easily. So make sure that you do leave your contact information and that it's clear if you're reaching out to any of these important contacts. The other thing that Sue just kind of mentioned is our Atlantic Cape Connect app. This is a fantastic app. So we've actually talked to you about downloading 2 apps as a new student, the Atlantic Cape Connect, as well as your Blackboard Learn app. This will give you information to a lot of the different services and resources that you may need. So I think Sue mentioned it related to the library. Know before you go, take a look at websites, give a call ahead of time so that you know what are the hours, what are the restrictions on any given time. The app can also help give you some of that information too. So highly recommend that you download that and that you explore some of that information as well. Okay. So what are next steps? Again, classes are beginning. For many of us, class may have begun today. Perhaps you even already had your first virtual session. Perhaps you know it's scheduled later in the week. But what are your next steps? So based on this presentation, we do hope that you will activate that Buccaneer email account, do your WebAdvisor account, and access Blackboard. So those 3 systems that you need, get into each of the 3 of them and make sure that you have access. Okay, buy your course books and materials, explore your Blackboard course sites, make note of how each faculty member prefers to communicate, when your course sessions may be, create that schedule that Sue was talking about at the beginning and really plan out when are you going to dedicate time to your work. If you don't have actual virtual sessions and your class is fully online without virtual meetings, still figure out when are you going to dedicate time to your work. And explore the website. The website gives so much information and is constantly being updated and changed to make sure that it gives you the most up-to-date information. So especially look around for contact information, troubleshooting information. Sue actually is the one who continually says this. Use that search bar. If you look at the top of that web page, there's a little magnifying glass. Pretty much if you want to know about how do you access your Buccaneer email account or who do you contact if your email account is locked, type in Buccaneer or type in email and I bet it will come up there as well. So those are some to-do lists, but also Most importantly, celebrate where you are. Celebrate the beginning of this academic journey. Look forward to what the process is. Recognize that it is a process and that even though it may be remote or online, we're here with you, we want to support you, and we're celebrating alongside you. Okay. All right, Sue has a couple of closing remarks, and then I think we will stop the recording and move to questions, but let's do Sue's remarks first. Okay.
Hey, I just want to say to all of you, welcome, welcome, welcome. We are happy you're here. This is going to be a continual process, and just know that there are going to be ups and downs and challenges you think you couldn't overcome, and yet you will. And that's the exciting part, is because once you do that, then you try even more complicated things, and you start to think you can do even more, and you do. And I think for all the faculty, especially, you know, in my own case, graduation day is my favorite day of the year, because it's when people recognize, wow, I did it. And you're thinking, graduation, I'm on day one, I don't know what I'm doing. That's okay. That's okay. But just know graduation's coming, and that's just going to be the start of the next challenge and the next goal that you have, not just academically, but with your career and frankly, your life. And that's what it's all about. So welcome aboard, and just know your faculty, administrators, the staff, we're all excited that you're a part of this. Thank you.
So at this time, we will stop recording. We've completed the presentation portion of today's session, but we will stay on site for or online for different questions and answers. So Caroline, if you would like to pause the recording